Welcome to Global Soccer Conclave and the methodology session. We are here with Mr. Albert Capellas. Hello, Mr. Albert.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Jan. Thanks for the invitation.
Okay, let me introduce a little bit about Mr. Capellas' expertise. As more of you know, he's one of the gurus of the training session, of the youth development, of the methodology training session for soccer. He is also known for his job during a lot of years in the most important clubs around the globe, and specifically a big adventure in FC Barcelona, firstly in the youth development, and recently appointed, congratulations Albert, as a new member of the methodology department in FC Barcelona Youth Academy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And let me talk a little bit about your expertise, a little bit about your curriculum vitae. You have been working for several years in the youth training, and only to point a little bit names of the clubs, it's important to say you was working in Borussia Dortmund, in Bundesliga, also Vitesse in Eredivisie, Brøndby in Superliga in Denmark, and also as assistant coach of Jordi Cruyff in Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel, and also in Chongqing in China. And finally, recently, you was working as a head coach of the under-21 national team of Denmark. Also, it's important to notify for me and also to inform all of the audience about your work in the possession football methodology. Using this methodology, this app or this application, you are trying to show all the coaches, all the people around the soccer globe, how is working about youth development, about training sessions using Cruyff philosophy. Yeah, recently you arrived to an agreement with the Cruyff football, and you are trying to develop this big project to try to raise up the level of all the coaches. It's only an abstract about your expertise. Then feel free to introduce yourself about anything you think it's important for the audience.
First, thank you for this introduction. Yes, my background, it comes from the bottom level of youth football. I come from a very small town, only 2,000 people, teaching the kids in that town without receiving money, without knowledge. That means it's a story of hope for all these coaches around the world that they have not been professional footballers and they don't have the chance to work from the big clubs from the beginning, without networking, without people who can help you for the first day. I'm a man who has been working all my life very hard to make my dreams come through. And now I can tell to everybody that it's possible. If you believe in what you are and you want to achieve in life, I always say, be careful what you dream, because maybe it will happen.
So interesting, Albert. It's important to notify that point, starting from none to arrive to one of the biggest clubs in the world. And today we are going to talk a little bit about methodology and its importance in soccer industry. And let me start talking about, for example, what do you mean when you talk about football methodology?
What do I mean? I can tell you what I think about methodology.
Yeah, of course.
You can find a lot of
definitions
there. For me, methodology is when the people, the spectators, watch our football game, they can recognize a football style. When I see, yes, when I see a team that I can say, oh, they know which kind of football they are playing. That you can recognize a footballer style behind the way that they want to play football, then I think, okay, this club has a structure, has a football methodology behind. It means a very clear ideas how you want to train and how you want to play. And then, of course, you can use this methodology for your own team. It doesn't matter if it's a professional team who plays the Champions League or is an amateur club who plays with kids of under 14 years old. It doesn't matter. But when I can see a team who I can recognize the way that they are playing, 4-3-3, very offensive, or maybe 4-4-2, waiting in midfield and playing a counter-attack, or maybe 3-5-2. It doesn't matter, but there is very clear the way that they press, the way that they make the transitions, the way that they defend. I see order on the field. Okay? And then is how you can achieve a methodology, a football style in your team. And that is when it comes to have a very clear ideas. A very clear idea, how do you like to play, which kind of football style you would like to play, and then the most important part is how you want to train, how you have to train to achieve the way that you would like to play. And both has to be connected. And that is when it becomes complex when we talk about methodology, because it's very easy when you have a very clear idea, but it's very difficult to see it very easy. You need a lot of knowledge, you need a lot of experience, you need a lot of confidence as well. You need time, you need a big belief in what you are doing. And that is why it's not easy at all. But for me, that is methodology, is a football style that everybody can recognize. And then behind of this football style has to be a very clear way of training and a very clear way of playing, and can be for your team or maybe for all your club, all the teams in your club, because then we will talk about it later. Then it's easier to achieve your aims that you are looking for, or even in a national team. It depends in which project you are involved, or even in a football school for kids.
Okay. Then if we can try to go a little bit far from this point, why it's important for a club to use a specific methodology? What's your opinion?
First, when you work for a club, or you train a club, or you lead a club as a coach or as a sport director or as a technical director, for me, it's very important to have a vision. That means how we want to do it, how I want to play. A very clear idea, because at the moment that you have the vision, where you want to arrive, which aims are you looking for, then you have to think about how you want to do it. And for me, the methodology is the how. No, how I want to achieve the aims that I am looking for. And that is why it's important, because when you have a vision, a very clear vision, then it's much easier to achieve your aims. And when you are lost and you don't know which football style you want to play, which system do you would like to use, how you want to train, and then appears the improvisation. And when you are talking about improvisation, when you don't know what you are going to do next week or next month or next year, when you don't have a plan, then it's much more easy that you will get lost. And the problems will appear for sure, sooner than later. But when you have a plan, when you have a direction, and that is why the big companies in the world is the first thing that they are looking for, is when they invest the most money to find the vision of the company, because that it will give the direction of the big company. Okay, it's the same with the football club. When you have a very clear idea how you want to play, then it's easier to start to work. It's easier to start to make a strategic plan to achieve your aims or the aims of the club. Maybe the aim of the club is to win the Champions League or to win the league. Or maybe the aim of the club is bring players in the first squad. Or maybe the aim of the club is just to prepare professional football players for around the world. Mm-hmm. Every club has their own aim, their own vision. That is what methodology is very important, because it gives you direction. And at the moment that you have direction, then is you increases a lot the chances to have success in the aims that you are looking for.
Oh, so interesting this point about the vision, about the because as you said, the vision is the final point, and when you know exactly where you are going, you have your vision, it's too easy to find the way, the road to arrive there. That's so interesting point, because if you don't know the exact point where you are going, you can go now to one side, then you are changing the technical director or the coach and going to other side, and it's impossible to arrive to your final destination. It's impossible because there is no final destination.
Absolutely, there is no final destination. And in football, everybody has their own thoughts, their own beliefs, based in their own experiences, good and bad. And maybe all of them are okay, are fine. All of them, they have their own truth, based in their knowledge. But a lot of times, this way of thinking of different people, it doesn't fit together. That is why someone has to say, okay, let's use all your knowledge, but we have to follow one direction, and that is methodology. Somebody has to say, okay, we will do it in that way. And then you have to find people who agrees with that. Because if in your club you have people that they disagree in the way that you want to do it, then it's much more difficult to achieve the aims, because then the directions will split and then they will start to get lost. And that is one of the most difficult things in football, to find the way, to find the vision and convince the people, the football coaches, convince the sport, the people around the club, that everybody has to follow that direction. That is why the clubs, the coaches, the sport, they have to invest time in put everybody together, making a team building inside of the club, to be sure before we start the project that everybody is aligned.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I think you agree with me. When a club wants to follow a particular methodology, youth development have a major role on it, yeah?
Yeah, it depends on the aim of the club, of course. But for example, if the aim of the club is to bring players in the first team, of course, you need a structure, you need a methodology, you need a vision in your youth academy. That is why it's very important that the football style of the first team, the first squad, the professional club or the main team of the club, the senior team, has to be very similar with the way of thinking, the way of playing, the way of training of the youth academy. They have to be aligned. And sometimes what happens with a lot of football clubs is they have a very nice structure in methodology, in the way of playing, the way of training, until they have 18 years old or 19 years old or 20 years old. But then the board members of the club, they decide to contract a coach who has absolutely an opposite way of thinking, that nothing to do with the methodology of the club. And that is the most difficult part in football, to fit the methodology in the youth academy with the first team. And that is why the people who decides who will be the coach in the first team has to be aligned with the vision of the club, with the methodology of the club, and they have to choose someone who will follow that methodology. Otherwise, again, they will get lost. And one of the things that football doesn't give you, never, especially in professional football, is time. And when the teams start to lose, when the teams start to lose points, what happened? The first decision that they take is new coach. And a lot of times they want to try something different. And that is a big mistake. You can try a different name, but they have to be sure that it's the same football style, the same methodology. If you really believe that is the right way, because otherwise you are losing time, you are losing money, you are losing hope, you are losing credibility, and it's very dangerous for a football club, because maybe this new coach will get results in a short term, but in a medium term and in a long term, you are taking a lot of risk to put in danger the club, the vision of the club. And that is why methodology in youth academies is very important, but it's also very important that this methodology is aligned with the first team.
Okay, then talking about youth methodology and also in the senior team, I have it's a particular question about, okay, imagine a club who has never think about methodology, and is a historical club or something like that. How is the correct process? What do you think is the correct process to start the project to develop a new methodology, starting from youth and then arriving to the senior? And finally, how to protect the methodology? Because now you and me can develop a methodology, but 20 years later, what happened?
Nobody knows. 20 years in football is
yeah.
Sometimes we don't know what will happen in 3 weeks. That is how football works.
Yeah.
No. First, I would like to say that my first tip is to spend time with a strategic plan. How you want to do it. Spend time. Don't run a club without spending time before how I want to do it. And then when I want to do it, why I want to do it, who has to do it. You have to answer all these question marks. And when you have a clear vision how you want to do it, then it becomes the most magic word in football if you want to have success implanting a methodology in your club. And that word is scouting. When it means scouting is, okay, if the people who leads the club thinks that we want to go in that direction, maybe offensive football, creative football, fun for the spectators, that they play with a lot of energy, that they play in the opposite half, that they try to build up the game, a quick reaction after they lose the ball, that they have to define all these things. And then, okay, now it's about who. And that is when the scouting starts. Which coach? Which coach will lead this project? Who fits with the vision of the club? Which sport director will lead that project? Who fits? Which coaches will lead the youth academy? Which people will be around of these coaches? Scouting. But then if I want to play in a certain way, I need a specific way of scouting players. Okay, that the faster way to implant a football methodology is to scout the right players that it fits in that way of playing. For example, if you want to play 4-3-3 with wingers very wide, very deep, that they are very good in 1-against-1, the wingers are absolutely different. They have to be fast, very good 1-against-1, good cross, good quick reaction, fast feet, courage to having the ball. But for example, if you want to play 4-2-3-1 and the wingers inside with the opposite leg in the right side or on the left side, then you need another type of wingers. That is why you have to define a profile per each position on the field, and then scout players in all categories who it fits as much as possible in that way of playing. And then you have to make a plan. You have to design the way of training. And the way of training is, okay, if I want to play possession football, for example, is something that I know, that is my expertise for all my years in Football Club Barcelona, and also now developing the website croyfootball.com. That means I want players who think very fast, who watch around all the time to get as much information as possible before they get the ball. Players with a very high technical level, that means that their control and pass is very good because I want to play in 1-2 touches. But if I want to play a football that is more aggressive, is more defensive, is more counter-attacking, you really have to scout on other players. And that means if you have a good scouting process, it's much easier. You are winning a lot of time. And then the way that they have to train, okay, if I want to play counter-attack football or defensive football and counter-attacking, or a football way of playing with wings, wing backs, for example, 3-5-2, you have to train absolutely different. That means you have to define, in our case, I like to rondos, I like to drills with control pass, I like positioning games, I like small-sided games, I like, of course, tactical exercises too, but it doesn't mean that is the best way to train football. No, there is a lot of ways to train football, but it's the way that I like to train football, that it fits perfectly in my way of thinking, in my methodology regarding possession football. And that is why you need people around the club who are aligned with this vision. And that is the next tip. Okay, and then is about the rhythm of the training. That means that train with quality and not with quantity. Because a lot of clubs, they want to train a lot of hours, they spend a lot of time in training, but the quality is not there. It's much better to train 1 hour in a high quality than 2 hours with a lower quality. Because if you train longer time, the level of the training drops, because the human body cannot stay 3 hours training with the high demanding that football demands to the football players. That is why training between 1 hour, 1 hour and 30 minutes is more than enough, but very high quality. How you can train with very high quality? With very good coaches who know exactly what they have to do, how they have to do it, that they have the knowledge and the experience to do it in that way, and with players with as high technical level and as smart as possible. And the combination will make a fantastic trainings, and then you will start to train with a lot of quality. That also, it helps a lot. There is a lot of secrets behind to implant a football methodology, because people tell me, how much time do you need to implant a football methodology in a football club? I will say, it depends. I have to see the coaches. I have to see the players. I have to see the facilities. I have to see the history of the club. And then it can take maybe 1 year. 1 year is very fast. Maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years, or maybe never. Because if the people is not aligned, they will fail for sure. And that is what will happen with a lot of clubs, that every 1 or 2 years, 3 years, they don't have the success, they get nervous, they lose the hope, and then change the sport director, and now we have to start again. And we have to start. And when you look this club, the last 20 years, you see new people every 2 years. And you say, listen, this is impossible to have success. In some point, you have to say, okay, I believe this group of people. And then I will give these people 5 years or 6 years. And that is the most difficult part, because football never gives you time. And that is why at the beginning, you need to have some success. Otherwise, you lose credibility. And that is what it makes this job so interesting, because you have to fit a lot of, conditions.
So interesting, Albert, because it's like when you start a business, it's like you want to sell so quickly with no business, literally. In sport, it's like the same. You need to have success really quickly to get more time, because time it's not a gift in that world. Then you mentioned that football many times is like entertainment, or try to entertain the fans, the supporters. Then the next question is about how methodology of the club or style of play can impact beyond the match performance respect to a spectator or the fan experience. For example, okay, you want to make 8 goals because the fans are really happy if you make 8 goals. But in the opposite side, there are the coach who want to control all the aspects and have a great performance. And how to align these points, the methodology, the fan experience, and all of that.
First, I was inspired with Johan Cruyff. All my life, I had the chance to meet him in Barcelona. He was the man who changed the club from a normal club in Europe or at the top 20. And after Johan Cruyff, it became the top 3 in the world. Okay, he changed and he said, listen, football is a game. Football is not a science. It's a game. And never lose, Albert. He told me, never forget that words. Football is a game and it's not a science. Don't allow the science to beat the game. Okay? Because if it's a game, people will enjoy. And then he said, we spend so many hours in training, watching football games, watching video analyzing in the trainings, in the official games, in the stadium. And it has to be fun. But it has to be fun for me as a coach, because I want to enjoy every day. I don't want to be worried every day. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy every training when I see my players playing a fantastic position games or scoring a lot of goals in a small side games or making a fantastic finishing drill because they have high quality. They are smiling all the time. I always say, if the players don't smile, it's impossible, or it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to have success and play a nice and creative and offensive football. People has to be happy. Okay, that is one the way that I was inspired. Okay, but and at the end, football is entertainment. Football, you can make happy a lot of people around the world. Do you imagine the power of this? That with a good performance of your teams, you are making happy a lot of kids, a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, the wives, the girlfriends, everybody, because a lot of times people watch football together. It's a family thing a lot of times. This is so powerful. And why we want to lose that? I don't want to lose that. For me, myself, it moves this vision to make people happy. And how you make the people happy with the good performances. That is why our philosophy, myself, in Football Club Barcelona or in Cruyff football, and myself is offensive football, creative, dynamic football. When we want to dominate and where we want to have as many chances as possible, because then is when it is fun. We want the best players with the highest quality. They have to be on the field, not the physical players. The physical players will bring you hard work, of course, but we think that the quality players always beat the physical players if they are smart and they know how to do it. And that is why, and then you say, okay, Albert, don't be romantic. And now I start to answer your question. Don't be romantic. This is romantic football. I say, no, it's not true. I think this is the best way that you increase a lot the chances to win the games. I never understand the coaches who say, today we have to win, it doesn't matter what. I don't care how we do it. It's only about winning today. Come on. You have to give them a plan. You have to tell the players how you want to win. Because if they don't have a plan, then you talk about luck. And then it's better to say, listen, boys, I don't care the way that we play to that. Hey, good luck, because we will need it. Because I don't have a plan. I don't know how I will do it. Okay? But when you have a plan, you increases the chances to win. In Manchester United, they have one word, one best line. It says, winners have a plan, losers have excuses. that be sure that you are the ones that who have a plan, and be sure that you are not the ones who find excuses. And to playing in this kind of way, offensive football, attractive, creative, playing with a lot of energy, I know that I have more chances to win. Then it's very easy to fit with your question. With this kind of methodology, I know I have more chances to win. I know I will have more chances to have success. I know that I will have more chances to achieve my aims and please the board members. It's very easy. And the answer is don't doubt. Believe in what you are doing. And when the team lose, don't lose the direction. Don't change. Stay with your thoughts. Stay with your beliefs. Don't change. Sooner than later, the situation will change. Because at the moment that you start to change, you are lost. The people around you will start to have doubts. And then you are much closer to the failure than to the success.
So interesting because as you start saying in this meeting about the vision, then the main vision of all the clubs is, okay, the fans need to be happy. I want a lot of fans of my club because most of the fans of the supporters pays a lot of money and bringing a big support for the club. Then if you want your fans happy, make it happy. If you have your vision is to make your fans happy, only find the plan, as you are saying, and the plan are the methodology. Then use this methodology. Don't go now one direction and another time another direction. Yeah, then, but sometimes you know how it's working soccer, in football, there is a president or board members who say, okay, now the coach are not important for us and we need another coach. Then, do you feel the methodology of a club is dependent on its coach? In case of yes, for example, if we talk about Guardiola or Johan Cruyff, it's obvious. But in case if yes, when the coach or technical director or the youth academy leader, if we switch them, how the club management should ensure that the methodology is maintained, is aligned?
Scouting. Choose when they make the researches to find new people to work for the club, that they are aligned with the vision that they have. Is scouting. They will have a lot of chances that they will not have success. And I tell you, it's very difficult to build a football culture in a club. It's very difficult. You need time, 2, 3, 4 years, but it's very easy to destroy it. Very easy. And if you make the wrong choices, and people who starts to destroy the club, in 1 year, they can do a lot of damage inside of the club. Because of course, if they are not aligned with the vision of the club, they will fire people and they will hire new people that it will not be aligned with the philosophy of the club. It will be aligned with the vision of the coach. And if it's different, you will start to lose employees of your company that they were aligned, that you have worked with them a lot of years, because the other coach doesn't agree with that. That means they will fire them, and he will bring a new people that they don't know anything about the culture. They can do a lot of damage. It's different if the board members of the club, they want to change the direction. Then it's different. Then you have to change a lot of people, of course. Then you have to fire people and you have to hire new people. That is why is a scouting, but is very dangerous. At the moment that the club change the first team coach, or change the head of the sport director of the club, or they change the director of the youth academy, these 3 positions are very dangerous, and they should expend a lot of time and to choose the right ones. Otherwise, it can be a very, very expensive bill for the club.
Wow, so interesting. Then, what happened when? Imagine it's only imagine, and there is a big club in Europe with no name, who have a methodology the last 50 years or the last 70 years, a clear methodology, and now the board members, the president, think, okay, this methodology is not okay for us, it's not fit in our direction, we need another methodology. And how the club can be protected under this kind of decision? It's an option.
Everything is an option, but what I will tell them is, first, good luck, because you will need it. You will need it, because if you don't have success, everybody who was very happy in the past during these 20, 30 years, for example, clubs like Ajax in Holland, in Netherlands, or like Football Club Barcelona, maybe are the both clubs in the world with a very clear football methodology for a lot of years in a row. Okay, what happened if the club changed the direction? That the supporters, they will not, if they don't win, and they don't bring a new methodology or the new way of playing, the new football style that it brings result quickly, the fans will disagree. What it means, the media will disagree. They will put a lot of pressure to protect everything that was very good in the past and say, listen, if in the past we were very good, this is our values. We felt proud of our club with that values, with that way of playing, with that way of thinking, with that way, with our methodology, with our football style. They feel very proud and they don't want to lose that. That means they will start to feel a lot of pressure from everybody. And maybe you can do it 1, 2, 3 years, but if in 2, 3 years you don't have success, it will be, the pressure will be so high that they will have to change and come back to the basis. Is what made in the past our club great. I have one phrase that I love to say. It is a lot of people, when they get lost and they had success, and there is a moment they start to change things, to innovate, to make everything more complex, more less simple. And then there is a moment that the teams start to lose. You don't see the nice game anymore. The players start to complain. The fans, they don't like it. And then the coach say, okay, let's boys or girls, why we don't come back to the basis? And I say, and why if we never lose the basis? Because if we know the formula, if we know the formula and everybody's happy around this formula, and that made the club very big, and you had success and everybody was happy, smiling, why you want to change? When I have a player who is a very good player, I got a tip from a coach in Football Club Barcelona who say, that was with Iniesta, Andres Iniesta. And he said, Albert, this player is the best player I never met in the youth academy in Barcelona. He was a coach with more than 30 years experience in Football Club Barcelona. He's the best youth talent that I never seen. And he said to me, Albert, don't try to make him better. If we don't make him worse, we did a fantastic job. And in football clubs, it's a little bit the same. When you have a successful formula, maybe you can make it a little bit better, but be sure that you don't make that formula worse. And the people, when they start to be creative and they want to make a lot of changes, then what happens? People get confused, and then you are out of your bases, people get lost, and the problems start to.
Wow, so interesting, because you are talking about Cruyff, you are talking about one of the most important coaches in youth academy of FC Barcelona, Iniesta. Wow, so interesting. Then to close the meeting, I would like to ask about the methodology and national teams, because it's not working really as a youth academy or something like that, but you know, for example, the change that made the Spanish national team several years ago. Before was the passion, and when appears the style of Xavi, Iniesta, or something like that, all was changed. And do you think there is an option to implant or to align methodology in the national team?
Yes, of course. I did it in Denmark. I did it myself. It's not that I believe, I did it. I can say that it's possible 100%. I don't have any doubt. But then there is a lot of factors. Again, for example, Spain, they always were thinking about physical players. La furia española, the physical players. And there is a moment that it changed. Why? Because of Cruyff, Johan Cruyff as a coach of the first team, and then Guardiola also as a coach of the first team. That means a lot of players, very good players, they have success winning the National League, La Liga in Spain, playing this football style, also winning Champions League. And with this football style, we make the Football Club Barcelona the best team in the world. Okay? And then what happened? The coach of national team say, listen, if the players of Barcelona are the best in the world, I have to select these players. That means you select these players, you put it in the national team. This is a scouting. Scout the right players in one way of playing. And then what happened? They win the European Chip, and they win the World Cup. They win again the European Chip, and they become the best national team in the world. Why? Because the national team scout the best players. When Germany, why Germany won because when Spain won the national team, the World Cup with the national team, in the starting 11, I remember, I think it was 9 players from Football Club Barcelona in the starting 11. But when Germany with Guardiola won the league with Guardiola 3 years there, when they won the World Cup, it was in a starting 11, 7 players from Bayern Munich. It's a scouting again. And now England. But England, Guardiola is there, but in Manchester City, there is no 7 from England in Manchester City. All of them are foreigners. That means the national team coach, they cannot select 8 or 10 players from Manchester City. They are not there because all of them are foreigners. Very few players are from England. And that is why England has problems, because otherwise they will increase a lot the chances to win the World Cup. But at the end, and then I tell you, the way that Spain did it, okay? Under 15, under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19, under 21, all of them, they play in the same way of playing. And also in the same way of a scouting. The same profile of players per each position. And they maintain this way of thinking for a lot of years. At the end, what happened? The success with the national team. In Denmark, when I was in Denmark, we did something similar, and still they are doing something similar. I was talking a lot with under 15, with under 17 coach, with under 19 coach, with under 21, with the first team national team coach. We are a country, they are still a country of 5-6 million population. It's smaller than Catalonia. Okay? And this country, in under 21, this country is one of the best youth academies in the national teams with the best average in the world. If you look the games that they won, is the highest. It's unbelievable. The last 3 years, they win a lot of games, a lot. Okay, under 21 is unbelievable the way that they did it. And we beat France in the last European Championship. We beat France. That was the biggest team with the most chances to win that European. And we lost, but no, the coaches, we lose, the coaches. I lost the quarterfinals with Germany. In minute 89, we were winning 1-0 and they draw with a corner kick in the last minute. And we played fantastic, not the first 20 minutes, but the rest of 60, 70 minutes, we played fantastic. And they were very lucky to win that game. And at the end, they won the European Championship. That means we lost a big opportunity to win the European Championship under 21 with a small country of 5 million population. And then you see Denmark in the Euros, the A national team, the same. But this is not casualty. It's because they have a very clear of vision how to play and train and select players in the national team. If somebody thinks how lucky they are Denmark, forget it. They study a lot of game, they talk a lot about the game, and they are aligned in the way that we want to do the things. That is why I can say it's absolutely possible because we did it.
Wow, wow, so interesting. Only to try to make an abstract, I think there are 4 or 5 points that are so interesting about your speech. The most important thing is, like you are closing the speech, is the vision. I think when we talk about methodology, it's so important to get a vision, to get a point, final point, and then design the way, design the tools you need to arrive to that point. That's one point I think this so interesting. Another point I think was interesting in our speech is, okay, if you want to design this road, try to be surrounded by the best ones, and then the scouting of the players, of the coaches, of the technical director are so important. This point is so important. You need to choose the correct people to be aligned with your methodology, because in case it's not, the bill are going to be so high. It's so important, this point. And then, okay, the methodology, it's a guarantee to enjoy or to have a big entertainment with your fans, with your supporters. I think was so interesting, Mr. Albert Capellas, have your expertise talking about youth development, talking about your experience in the national team of Denmark. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Albert.
Thank you very much to everybody. Okay, if they need anything, they can find me in a social media with my name, Albert Capellas, or in Cruyff Football as well. I am in the social media. That means they can find me, they have questions, or they want to talk to me. Sometimes I spend time with people.
Thank you very much. I repeat, it was a pleasure for us. Very, very thanks from the organization of the Global Soccer Conclave. And all the best for the upcoming season in FC Barcelona Youth Academy, also in the senior team. And all the best with your projects. Thank you very much, Albert. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Enjoy football.